You know, laws are effective when there will be effective prosecution, apprehension and prosecution. Without apprehension and prosecution, laws are useless. It's not issue of judiciary per se. It's issue of the players. Who prosecutes? Who arrests? Before you know, if it becomes that the party that is in power will not prosecute its own violators, but will prosecute from the opposition. And that also causes problem in the system. And that is why some people said, if INEC has power to prosecute. But we have not seen INEC exercise that power. And these are things we think INEC should do. INEC should prosecute. INEC should also prosecute those that are rigging the elections within themselves. They should be able to arrest them.
I think it was under the Jega administration that they talked about 8,000 or 80,000 people, electoral violators that needed to be prosecuted and all of that. And then some people were arrested, I think, under the 2011 elections within INEC that helped to disrupt the elections and all of that.
Yes.
Those were not prosecuted.
But how many were prosecuted? How many were brought before the courts? There was this issue of how do you get the judiciary to adjudicate over the, to make it faster. And some people said, let's have tribunals to take care of them and be fast about it. But the first thing is, even the regular courts, how many people are being prosecuted? So either INEC or we also look at a system where we get some independent-minded people who can prosecute. But we can't continue duplicating systems. I told them that in the judiciary, we don't need to get all these tribunals, get this, get that. There are certain things we can solve without really amending our laws. The various chief judges or chief justice of the Federation or president of the Court of Appeal, they can set up special panels in the courts. Or people with designated function do this, and you must do it timeously. You must do it within 3 months. Those things can go by party's direction. All INEC needs to do is to say, liaise with the chief judge of various states. Please, we have election-related issues to be prosecuted. We want it timeously. And some judges who are competent will be designated to take up these matters. And within 2-3 months, those people should be jailed. And when they are jailed, and it has to be in a way that everybody understands that you are fair. It's not in a way where a particular party, if the party is in power in that state, it's prosecuting the opposition. Or if the party is in power at the national level, it's prosecuting the opposition. No. Everybody will see that whoever is involved in election violence, but the greatest people should be those that are rigging these elections. Because if, for instance, I don't know how many times we have checked the card readers to find out whether the same thing you have written is the same thing with the card readers. We have our scientists. They should be able to, the card reader should be able to check your thumbprint. So I don't understand why we should still be talking about rigging elections. Because the thumbprint at the card reader should be able to tell us who won and who did not win. So what are we doing? People that are doing election petition cases, to what extent has INEC availed them the opportunity of looking at the card readers, analyzing the card readers, and finding out that if somebody says, I got 300,000 votes, where did we see it in the card readers? The thumbprinting, because, to rig election in those days, without the card readers in those days, is that people continuously they will be thumbprinting the ballot papers. So now, when you come with one and then doing it on the card reader, it should, of course, not allow you. So, has INEC done anything? Because that's the first step. Analyze those things. Who rigged? How? Because if, for instance, you can't get the particular person that rigged, then the INEC person who released the card reader or who marked the thumbprinting, the hard copy thumbprinting, should be okay.
Mr. Ezeala, the Governor Nyesom Wike, has called for a review of these elections. Who do you think should undertake that review?
In my view, if the INEC should do that review. But if the other party or Governor Wike or other stakeholders feels that INEC is not independent enough, then they could also request that some other Nigerians, there are members of the civil societies they could call, that could stay with INEC to give the necessary credence to the review. I agree that there should be review, so that the review is for the purposes of apportioning blame, for the purposes of finding out whether the right things were done. And if the right things were not done, then we need to prosecute those that have violated the system. We need to take decisive action. If Wike and group were found to be culpable, they should be decisively dealt with. If the APC group are found to be culpable, they should be decisively dealt with. And I think we can get to the root. What results did INEC release? Are they in accordance with the card readers and the thumb printing? Are the thumb printing also in accordance with the card readers? The thumb printing result, is it the same thing with the released results in the result sheets? We can find these things if card readers were actually used, which we believe they used.
Okay, we'll take a moment and come back to end this conversation. Please don't go away. Welcome back. Our closing moments on Sunrise Daily. Mr. Zala, what is the way out of all of this? Because elections are just around the corner. You talked about Oshun, I think next year?
Yes.
Next 2 years. There are still other elections.
Yes.
The governor of Rivers State said these elections should be reviewed.
Yes.
The police has talked about parading about 5 or 6 people that were part of the violence in Rivers State.
Yes.
How can all of this be resolved?
The only way to resolve these things are to do an audit of the system. You know, a review, in my view, is a short-term thing. When you do an audit of the entire system, where did we start going wrong? What can we do? And that audit will reveal, was INEC really independent? Was it fair? Was it competent in the way it conducted its elections? We now look at what are the roles of the political parties. That's why I call it audit of the system. What were the roles of the political parties before the elections, during the elections, and after the elections? What were the roles of security agencies in the entire thing? And we get independent people who will understand this. They do all this, make suggestions to INEC and to the government. We now move on from there. And the audit, of course, principle on it will be, to what extent was that election free and fair? Because that is the only thing that can restore the confidence of voters. Because as you are doing it in Rivers, people in Osun State are watching. People in Ekiti State are watching and taking notes and thinking, how do they beat this system? What are you doing? But if they now find out that something has been done and that confidence has been restored in the system, we will move on. And then 2019 will now come up. You know, there are a lot of intrigues that will come up in 2019. We actually need to be very, very careful as a country.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chukwuma Ezel is a legal practitioner and election observer. Thank you for speaking with us.
Thank you.
And that's our show for today. We want to thank you for letting us be a part of your morning. Neota Igbe.
Well, thank you very much, Amaokwe Ogun.